Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Friday the 29th of November. US market was closed yesterday due to Thanksgiving and it will be a short day today. And I also have to tell you that Monday morning there will be no update since I will be traveling. But let's kick off here very quickly. The US market commentary will be very quick because it will be more or less the same as yesterday. Okay, Seng, we'll start with Seng that is bouncing a little bit off the 19,000 we talked a little bit about the other day here. I think we could bounce up maybe to around 20,000 and test that, and then we could risk that it probably will fall back, but around to 20,000 we could see that. If it takes out 19,000, well then we're looking at 18,000 level. Just very quickly here on the S&P 500, that was a little bit lower there. Wednesday session, pre-market, we are pushing a little bit higher, and I think maybe today or Monday we could push higher, have a new all-time high. We are in a bullish trade. There's a little bit divergence on the RSI, so a little bit maybe short-term trend exhaustion there. And the Nasdaq, that is a little bit weaker than the S&P 500. That is trying, it was sitting back down there in Wednesday session, but here pre-market we are about 0.5%. We are still in a rising trend, bullish trend, and if it takes out 21,000, I think we'll get a new high. However, if it breaks this lower rising trend line there, then we could be in for a little bit of a correction. Dow Jones, the all-time highs Wednesday, and also indicating a little bit higher this morning, but it is still not all-time high, but I think we could push higher. So the Dow Jones looks to be the strongest of all the indices as it looks now. European markets and EUROSTOXX 50 was a little bit off yesterday, but still in this bearish trend here. But it is and is currently indicating more or less unchanged. It really needs to get back above 4,800 for any chance to establish a stronger correction higher, but we are in a bearish trend. However, we haven't closed below 47.32, and 47 is also seems to be an area where there's some strong support, spiking below a couple of times. DAX index, on the other hand, was fairly strong yesterday, up 0.85%, and it is in a positive sentiment on the RSI. If RSI can close back above 60 threshold, it will probably do that. If it takes out the little peak there at 19,468 and breaking the upper falling trend line, then I think we'll see DAX pushing higher in the coming week or so, possibly taking out the previous peak here just around 19,675. Pre-market we are a little bit lower, but there's still time to either change that or either strengthen that. The CAC index, well, still in this bearish trend here, 7,100, still a little bit of a support here. There is potential down to around 7,000. We are in this shoulder head shoulder pattern potential unfolding. If it can get back above 7,300, close above it, and especially above 7,341, well, then it could push higher. Euro dollar continuing its bounce around the 38.2 retracement at 105.63. A little bit of resistance here at 106.10, where we had this spike up here. If it takes out that, well, then there could be potential up to around 107 in a correction after this massive sell-off we have seen. If it slides lower, then if it takes out 104.25, then expect lower levels towards 102. And the sterling dollar very close to test the minor resistance here. I did actually test it here this morning at 127.15. If it takes out that, then I think we'll see a push up to 128 to 128.30 level in a corrective phase, and then I think we'll see it sliding back. We have a 200 moving average here giving a little bit of a resistance also. The 55 and 200 moving average, they are declining. There is a negative sentiment on the RSI, so I think this is merely just a correction, and it could push lower in going into next week. Euro sterling really not doing much at the moment. I mean, still in this range here around 83 and a half. It needs to break above 83.75, and it needs to take out a 82.50 to resume a bearish trend. But it is in a bearish trend, but it is has bounced fairly strongly down here around 82.60 level. So it needs to take out that for really a push lower below 82. On the yen pairs, they are really on the move at the moment. We have dollar yen that trying to get back above 151.45, and but it's been sold off this morning, and I think we'll see a test of 149.40 support. There's a big chance that it will push to the 61.8 retracement 147.40, where we have some stronger support here at 147.20 in this region. Here we have the 100 moving average is declining, 55 rising, giving a little bit of support as we can see here. But at the moment as we speak, the RSI is below 40 threshold, and is indicating we are likely to push lower. It really needs to close back above here this area and the 200 moving average for a bounce, but I don't see that it's coming at the moment unless some surprise will come to the market. The euro yen testing 158.55 support area here. I think if we could spike down to the 61.8 retracement 157.60, we are in a bearish trend, negative sentiment, so we are likely to push that. And then I think we could see a bounce from around that level a little bit, and then maybe then lower. Aussie yen also lower at the moment as we speak. We are pushing below the 98 level, likely to, we're testing the lower part of the cloud. Negative sentiment on the RSI is indicating that we are likely to test the 61.8 retracement 96.95 here. It's not the strongest support, however, and we could drop a lower. Really needs to get back above 90 for a potential to push higher, but we have the 100 moving average coming down there, giving it a pressure, and the 200 also up here. So I think, which we are below, so I think we will see it having pushing lower in the coming days and going to next week. The sterling yen likely to test the 190, 189.55 support area here. I think maybe later today. If it takes out that, well, then we're looking at 187 level. It really is to get back above 194, 193.70 at least, but 194 to have a chance to reverse this trend. But there is some overhead resistance here, also the 100 moving average coming down. Aussie dollar trying to bounce, but it needs to get back above 65.50 for a bounce to 66, maybe 66.40. If it takes out the lows here again, 64.40, then expect to push down to around 63.60, 63 and a half. The dollar Canada has been really on the move lately and spiked higher, failed to close above 141 and could now slide lower to test the support here at 139.25. If it takes out that, well, then we're looking at 138.80, possibly down to 138.20. If it can get back above, once again, above 141, then it could be eyeing pushing higher towards 143, 144. Sterling Canada also massive bounces as done over the past few days. Strong resistance here at 178.30, where we have also the 100 moving average giving it a little bit of hard time. I think it will slide lower towards 176.80 here in the coming days. EURUSD, well, just basically dancing sideways here. needs to get back above the spike up there at 93.62 before push up to 94. But then we have the falling trend line. We have the 100 moving average kind of putting a lid on it, same with 55 moving average. So it will be short-lived. I think we'll get up there, then it will be sent back. I think we will see EURUSD sliding lower here in the coming today, going into next week with negative sentiment on the RSI. And no divergence indicating likely lower levels on Euro Swiss. Dollar Swiss, well, dollar Swiss it's currently testing 88 support again this morning here. If it takes it out once again, then expect it down to 87.45, possibly lower. We see it's formed this rising wedge-like pattern that is could be unfolding. So that is something to keep an eye on. What's going on here at around the 88, excuse me, the 88 level. The dollar index below this morning here, below the support at 106.40. If it does close below, then I think we'll see a push down to 105.11. I think we'll see that regardless. There's a little bit of support here with the 21 moving average coming up, but it's not that strong. But you see it dipped a little below here on the 21. Sometimes it gives a little bit support, but I think we could see a push down to this area around 105, and that also means I think we will see a stronger bullish push here on the euro dollar this morning. Gold is bouncing in early session today, just trading around the 55 moving average. I think it will push higher to at least the 61.8 retracement of this sell-off here from earlier this week. 26.77 I think would be tested today, could be tested today, but it will be key what's happening with the RSI. It got rejected here at 60 threshold late last week, and if it can close back above it, then I think we'll see it pushing higher. RSI if it closes above 60 threshold, I think it will push the gold spot here higher, and also take out the 27.20. So that will be key here the next, today and go into next week. If it suddenly falls back and takes out 26.05, then expect it to drop to 25.76, maybe all the way down to 25.46. The silver, well, bouncing from the 29.70, it seems to be very strong support here, bouncing now. And if it can keep that and get a little bit of mojo back here, momentum back, with a push up to 31.54 level, and if it takes out that, well, then we're looking at 32 plus. Copper also bounce a little bit. Can it get back above 418? See 417.90, but 418 I will say. If it can get back, then there's a potential up to the 430 area, where we have this 61.8 retracement, 430.5. We have, however, the 100 moving average coming down, kind of putting a lid on. We have the 200 slight rising in 55. So there will be some strong resistance up here, and we're still in negative sentiment, but it could test the 60 threshold. That will be key. What will happen there if it gets up to that level? If it takes out 400, well, if it slides back, we could see a test of these support levels here just around 440, 446. On the energy side, on crude oil, really not much going on. Still the 66.70 here on WTI and 72.80. That is the range, but it seems to be more and more narrow. So let's see how it will develop the next couple of days. If it takes out this very bearish 25th of November, then I think we could see a test up there. But then we have the 100 moving average putting a lid on. We have the cloud area also giving resistance. So I am actually in favoring the downside, and I think we will see a test of the lower levels fairly shortly. But for now, it's just dancing around its current place. The same here with the Brent crude oil, obviously below the cloud, declining 100 moving average, and I think we could slide lower in the coming days. On the other hand, on the Dutch TTF gas, that has been fairly strong lately. There's still potential higher, despite it being in a bit of corrective phase. But you can see here on the weekly chart, we are still pushing higher, although we are pausing a little bit. Maybe they're waiting and see what's going on with the weather in Europe and all. But there is potential higher to around 55 level, 56. The US nat gas, well, that's a different story. It is in a bullish trend. So it's a much stronger bullish trend than the European one, but it's still both in bullish trends. Resistance a little bit here at 364 could be taken out. It's not that strong, and we are in a bullish trend, and it seems like we are also trading a little bit higher here in early session this morning. US 10-year Treasury yield testing 4.25 here in early session this morning. Again, did just below but closed above. I think we will see another break below. We actually tested right on the money here this morning. I still think we could see a correction down to around 415, 414 support level. But then we have 55 moving average coming up that could bounce it back higher. And if that plays out, well, the RSI, if it gets back above the falling trend line and especially back above 60 threshold, then there's potential higher towards 4.5. The 2-year also in a little bit of correction move, testing the 422 support. So there is a potential down to around 410, 406 support, maybe even 402, which is the 38.2 retracement. But we also have some supports coming up here in the form of the 55 moving average. But a correction is in the cards after this strong upwards move. The EUROBund future, well, it has closed yesterday above 134.25, and now there's potential up to these peaks here, just around 136.29. Well, we'll get there. It's debatable, but we are in a positive sentiment on the RSI. There's no divergence. We seems to be getting above the cloud here up here, so there is potential in the coming weeks up to around the 136 level. And finally, on the UK gilts, well, it closed above 95.36. I think we'll see a test of the 61.8 retracement, 95, 97, maybe also testing the 96 level. But then we have the 55 moving average coming around, kind of giving it a pressure there. And key is what will happen with the RSI here on the 60 threshold. Will it be rejected or will it close above? That will be key for further development to either the bullish side or slide back lower. If it slides back lower here on the gilts below 95, then I think downtrend will resume. Just very quickly on the Bitcoin, it hasn't really done much, to be honest. Here we have Bitcoin. Well, it's trying to bounce back and test 100,000. It could still do that. There's no diversion on the RSI, so I think we'll push a little bit higher. The Ethereum had a strong move above 3,500 and 3,600, setting back a little bit. We are in a bullish trend, but a little bit of divergence on the RSI. So there will be another update in next week. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice weekend and happy Black Friday if anyone is out there doing some bit of shopping. And remember, I will be back Tuesday, not Monday, since I will be traveling.